Hi everyone. Today I'm going to show you exactly how we take the composted indigo and start a new indigo vat. So there is a step in the process after you give me your dried leaves, and that involves composting. We're not going to talk about the composting quite today because today is an exciting day at Praxis where we are going to start a new indigo vat. So we'll talk to you about that today, and later on down the line we'll talk more about composting. So what we have here is an empty 55-gallon drum. We have the composted indigo leaves. So I'm going to show you what this compost looks like. Beautiful, dark, rich dirt. And this is actually the dried leaves that have been broken down into their most concentrated form. And it's the composted indigo leaves that get mixed into the vat that start to begin the live fermentation process, which activates the magical properties of indigo. So we'll talk a little bit about how we get there. Once we have our compost, the next step is to actually create 5 strengths of wood ash lye. There are many ways to create a natural indigo vat. So this is only one way. We are following the traditional Japanese methods, and that's because we are growing Japanese indigo. There are so many ways to extract the amazing blue color. This is just one of those ways. So the wood ash lye is made by using wood ash. In our case, we partner with Citizen Pie Pizzeria, which is our local pizza shop. Wood fire pizza ash is going to be a really hot wood, a hard wood that burns very hot, which is going to make it a great wood ash to use for our wood ash lye. We're happy and grateful for Citizen Pie for this partnership, so if anybody wants to check out their pizza, it's very delicious. So the first thing that we do is measure out. We're following a recipe, like it's a recipe like anything else, as we put the wood ash into barrel number 5, and you can see that all of our barrels are numbered. And then we boil water. The total amount of liquid in all of these 5 barrels is going to be the liquid that goes into our vat and helps to makes the indigo dye. So we have to make sure we have enough, and that's part of how the recipe works, is dividing how much liquid we need, that we will need to maintain the life cycle of the vat. So the wood ash lye goes into barrel number 5, and boiling water is poured on top. Now it's stirred well, the wood ash settles, and then the liquid is sifted off or siphoned off of that barrel, and it goes into barrel number 1, because that is the strongest strength of lye. It's the very first water that's been boiled with the wood ash, and it's the strongest strength. The pH is around 12 in this case. So this is a pH game. It's all about creating the right sliding scale of pHs across these 5 strengths, and that's going to help slowly activate the fermentation in the indigo vat. So this will take about a day. Next day, come back, boil more water, add it onto the same wood ash, stir, let settle, siphon that off, and that's now strength number 2. So you guys get it. And we do this for 5 times. We have 5 different strengths. And we're going to start with the weakest strength first, and we're going to add it to our compost. And Emmy is here to help me. And so we are going to first, we've measured out according to our recipe, we needed about 30 pounds of the Sukamo or dried indigo leaves, composted indigo leaves. You can see that is quite a lot of plant matter, and it is always going to stay at the bottom of the vat. So as we keep using the vat, it's this compost that's going to continually keep the vat alive as we stir the indigo vat over its life cycle. We'll be stirring it almost every single day. The stirring is what's going to activate the live bacteria in the compost to continue its fermentation process. So the very next step is that we're going to start to get this 5th strength of lye. You can roll over here, Emmy, and slowly start to add it in. And we want to be really careful not to disturb the wood ash at the bottom. We don't want an excess of wood ash to mix in with our indigo. So we'll be here, the barrel is full about halfway of this with this lye. And once we are done, we will pick back up and show you guys the next step. All right, we have successfully added about halfway through full of liquid to the vat with the composted indigo at the bottom. Emmy's going and stirring that really well. And then we have 2 more ingredients to add, and then we will wait for fermentation to start. And the first one of those is wheat bran. This is essentially the sugar that is going to, the bacteria will eat off of, and that will cause the fermentation to begin. Actually, we can start it without this stuff, but this just kind of helps initiate that action and lets it go a little faster. So the recipe calls for 1 cup. So we'll go ahead and sprinkle that in. And then the next thing is hydrated lime or slaked lime. Same amount. You want to stick your ratio of wheat bran to lime is going to be the same at this point. This is the first of 3 times that we're going to be adding the lime, and it's essentially a pH stabilizer. So it's just going to make sure that whatever happens, it sort of stays on a slow path, no big spikes in our pH changes as a result of adding the lime. So we've got a cup of that. Awesome. So the next step is just stirring. We'll make sure that the lime is stirred in really well, and we will come back now and stir the vat half full of lye every morning and evening until fermentation begins. So what does that mean? What are we looking for? One of the things that we're looking for is the surface of the vat to change. So one of the things that indigo is reacting to is oxygen. So while the inside of the liquid could be one color, the surface of the vat that's touching the air could start to change. It will get shimmery, iridescent, maybe look a little gray, a little smoky. That is going to be one indicator. And then the second most obvious indicator will be the smell. So right now the smell is very, very strong of ammonia, which is the smell of that the leaves take on when they're composted. And I can't describe it any other way other than it smells really strong of ammonia. The shift to fermentation, it's a little sweeter, it's a little earthier, it almost smells a little rotten, but not quite. It's hard to describe, but it is absolutely a shift in smell. So the shift in smell in combination with the surface change, that will be our indicator that we can add more lime. And then we can also continue slowly adding the next levels of our wood ash lye. So this process could take anywhere from 3 days to 3 weeks. We really don't know. My hope is that because the weather is very warm, that it will probably ferment pretty quickly. So we're gonna check it really closely. I'm hoping in the next 3 to 5 days, we're gonna see that surface change, and we should have a working vat in just a few weeks. And I'm also hoping that this is the very vat that you all get to come out and try after this process is done. So very exciting day. Thank you so much to Emmy for helping out. And we will check back on this beautiful indigo vat in a couple days.